Sanders. And two things I did not have on my bingo card when I first started a Capitol Hill job in 1993 up there in the Capitol. Let's walk towards that. I didn't have on my bingo card that some 30 years later, I would be walking around this beautiful place holding a phone, talking live to my social media viewers. So that's cool. Perhaps more troubling is also didn't see or foresee the rise of mainstream socialism. But guess what? That's here. New York City just proved it. And there's no one in Washington, particularly up in that building right there, that's more excited about the rise of what appears to be a red wave, not of Republican conservatism, but of red socialism. No one more excited than Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, the self-avowed socialist, for the longest time, the really only socialist in Congress. He's a senator. He is now vowing to back a slew of socialist candidates nationwide. And he says, in his words, he wants to duplicate exactly the kind of success that the young Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani had in winning the election for mayor in New York City, the largest, most powerful city, not only in the US, but arguably possibly in the world, now led by a 34-year-old socialist with a very thin resume before holding office. A lot of his policies, of course, are what are alarming people because of all the free stuff, free bus rides, free child care, free this, free that, government-owned grocery stores. And so a lot of people are talking about socialism now because the Democratic Socialists of America, and that's who is pushing Zoran Mamdani. He founded at his college in Bowdoin College when he was a college kid. He founded the DSA chapter there. Now they, of course, have been backed him all the way through this mayor's race, and it's Mamdani's race that's really sort of set this playbook in motion. But the DSA are feeling their oats. They're now 80,000 strong in their ranks, growing. Tens of thousands have joined just in the last year. Some Democrats say that's frustration out of the Democratic leadership not being socialist or progressive enough. But no doubt, obviously, when Mamdani won, that was proof that there is a tide rising, a shift. And you're seeing a lot younger Democratic socialists trying to push out the mainstream old guard like Chuck Schumer. And the DSA put out a statement during the government shutdown once it was broken that the DSA was slamming Chuck Schumer and the Democrat senators that caved on the government shutdown. And you now have them saying that the only way to beat fascism is through socialism, in the DSA's words. So, fast forward to this tide rising I'm talking about. There in Seattle, the race for mayor, self-avowed candidate Katie Wilson has just pulled ahead in a race where she is exactly a half a point ahead from the incumbent mayor, Bruce Harrell. She's at 50.1%, and the incumbent is at 49.6%. But here's the thing about that. Just 24 hours ago, Wilson, the socialist, was leading by just 91 votes, literally less than 100. But after this morning's numbers came out in Seattle, we see that she has a lead of more than 1,000. If that continues to grow, you're going to have literally two socialists running two major U.S. cities. That race, by the way, the ballots will be counted until November 24th. And if no one is pulled ahead by more than 2,000, there will likely be a recount. However, you're going to obviously get these numbers daily, so we'll see where the Wilson race goes by the end of today with numbers and checking out throughout the week. But it's not just in Seattle. You did have one socialist that tried and came up short out in Minneapolis. In Minnesota, that's Omar Fateh, the socialist running against incumbent Jacob Fry. Fry eked it out, but it was very close. It's this coast-to-coast spread of democratic socialism that's catching a hold. And Sanders, who, as you know, is up here in the Capitol as we get closer, and of course, there's the Senate buildings over here. That's where Sanders is working today. But nationwide, he's trying to build a coalition of socialist candidates to run. One particular in Michigan, Abdul El-Sayed, he is backed for the Senate race there. Sayed has also gotten the backing and endorsement of Rashida Tlaib. So you're seeing for the first time here in the Senate and over here in the Capitol behind the tree there, you're seeing the left progressive slash somewhat growing socialist members starting to really feel their oats, push and lean into it. Now, you're also seeing in New York a possible really growth of the Democratic Socialist move because we've got a city councilman, a New York City councilman named Chio Say, who is saying that he is likely planning on jumping into a congressional primary to try and unseat minority House leader Hakeem Jeffries. Now, Jeffries jumped on board late in the Mamdani race and endorsed him, thinking that that would fend off this progressive pressure from within the party. But obviously, if a self-avowed Democratic Socialist will get into the race and press Jeffries, who knows what the midterms will hold for Democrats. One thing that is a clear takeaway is that this Democratic Socialist faction is a growing faction within the Democrat Party's really fight and struggle for power. It's unclear who's going to win, but if obviously New York is any indication and potentially Seattle is any indication, then the Democrat moderates are going to have to reckon with it. And at the end of the day, while you see what's happening in New York, oh, and by the way, there's one other one in New York, and that is upstate in Ithaca. You had a council seat member, a socialist, win there. Her name, Hannah Schvetz, and she is actually rumored or reported to have been part of the local communist chapter there. These are things I never thought we'd see in this town, in that Senate building, or over here in that U.S. Capitol. So we'll have to wait and see where it goes. But just take this away. Keep your eye out on that Seattle mayor's race and Socialist Katie Wilson to see if she will win and what that means for the tea leaf reading of sort of how much the Democrat Party is going to have to worry about whether or not they're going to become the face of socialism in America. This is Griff Jenkins on Capitol Hill. I'm going to sign off. I got work to do. See ya.